Hello, everyone, and welcome to Retrospective Rants, with me, Joey Huff, as your host. So, today's episode is going to be a little different. First, I'm trying out a new format. Instead of reading out an entire script, I am just going to use bullet points. And hopefully, this will make me sound more natural while also helping me get more content out. We'll see if it works. And what is today's episode about? Oh yeah, my 5 favorite tropes and plot points in fiction. I did a previous episode about my 5 least favorite, now this is my favorite. Alright, let's get to the action. Redeemed villains. I like redemption. I like dark pasts and overcoming character weaknesses. Why? Nobody's perfect. We all do good things and bad things, and sometimes, especially if we like to think too much, we get over-involved in the bad things we do, even if they're not even that bad. And then, you get the idea. So, what kind of examples can I provide here? Well, there's 2 examples. One is the good version, meaning the ideal redemption story, in my opinion, and second is pushing it to the limit. So, for me, the ideal redemption story is Prince Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. One is because he was never really evil in the first place. He spent a lot of time, even though he was chasing Aang, he spent a lot of time fighting the other antagonists who were also chasing Aang. And 2, he was a child, Oh, the series ended. He is a child in the context of that story. So he doesn't entirely know what he's doing. He's forming. And so he has a chance to change around and redeem himself. And he does. He goes on a huge character journey. And he really stumbles lots of times, even betraying his uncle, honestly, his real dad, and all but blood. But he's able to turn himself around, find not only the true nature of himself, but also find the lost nature of his culture and his people, and he sets about to guide them back on the real path of fire and all that stuff. Okay, what's an upper limit example? Darth Vader. Why do I think that's an upper limit example of redemption, even though it's pretty much the classic? Everybody knows Anakin Skywalker was the fallen golden boy. And it's so tragic that he... Why did he feel compelled to do all the things he did? Okay, so he wanted to save his wife from certain death. And he killed children. Okay. He wanted to save the Republic and bring peace to the galaxy. And so he slaughtered and helped betray all the people that he... oh boy. The whole Jedi Order, all the people he grew up with. Okay. Okay, so I'm having trouble justifying Anakin, and that's the problem. He has, in my humble opinion, even though he had a lot of reasons to be anxious and scared, he did not have any justification to go nearly as far as he ended up going. And then, when he became Darth Vader proper, when he became basically the right hand of the devil in Star Wars, he became even worse. All of the genocides, the planet exploding, the people, the oppression of the citizens, Darth Vader was at the right hand of the Emperor, and he oversaw and executed the worst of all of the Empire's atrocities. Why does his redemption still work? Well, he died. He atoned for his sins by giving up his life. Really, the only alternative I could think of is if he spent, is if in the rest of his life, if he didn't die on the second Death Star, if in the rest of his life he went out and he went on a penance crusade of sorts. Like, going out to the fringe worlds like he always wanted to and attacking the bad guys. If he did that, maybe we could hold off on the execution, that sort of thing. But yeah. Redemption, though, is something we all want. We all want to be or feel better than we are, especially the be part, to improve ourselves. And good stories and fiction can help us do that, especially if it comes from a good place in the heart. Think of that last line that Darth Vader has, "Tell your sister you were right," because Darth Vader had even convinced himself with ample reason that he couldn't go back, but he did, and he did it the only and best way he or anyone else in his position probably could. Alright. Second favorite trope. Massive battles. Yes, big battles, action, strategy, numbers, the stakes of the universe. Everything is on the line for the heroes, and the only hope they have is to fight it out and somehow win against desperate odds. And when the movie or the book or wherever gets it right, they get it right. Battle of Endor, it's a trap! The Black Gate, all right, men of the West! And, what about that last battle in Avengers Endgame? Okay, so here's the thing about Avengers Endgame for me. It's really awesome when all the portals start opening and everybody starts popping out. But you also know that they're going to win. And yes, you may also say, well, you know they're going to win in the other stories too, because they're typical action-adventure stories and fantasy, blah, blah, blah. Yes, but I think that those earlier examples I gave, Battle of Endor, Black Gate, even something like in Skyfall, I think those moments set up the we're fighting against losing odds better. Not just because, well, one, time travel in Endgame is weird, but also because we spend a lot of time boosting up the bad guys and how dangerous they are in those stories, whereas for all of the MCU, we've seen what the heroes can do. And we know that they're gonna win. Hell, technically they actually did beat Thanos in a lot of ways, even before they really beat Thanos, but that's complicated. I hate time travel. It's still awesome, though. Another good example, and probably my favorite recent example, recent? A few years, counts as recent, is in Warhammer 40k, where Sanguinius gives a final speech at the Battle of Eternity Gate, where the traitor Marines to the Imperium are all surrounding him, and he's trying to rally the forces of the Imperium, and he even says, you know what? You don't have to be here. You've already given enough. You've given all that you can, and if you believe that, and you believe you've given all you can go. Because I cannot ask any more of you. But I don't believe I have given all I can. And so I will fight. And he ends the speech. Well, the crux of the speech, I think, is when he says, they will find me here with a blade in hand. Not because I can win, but because it is right. I can't say it as well as some other people have. There's this one channel that did it. What's this name? Epic acting or epic voice acting, something like that. But anyway, big battles, final stands, that sort of thing. I love it. And speaking of final, you also have final showdowns. Now, this doesn't have to be the same stakes as the last stand of the heroes against impossible odds. This is more of a people rather than nations and universes. When I say final showdowns, I mean the hero, the protagonist, versus their rival, And it can be just an actual shootout. It can be an anime style debate over ethics or whatever, but I love it when the two main driving characters of a story, the characters that have had the most focus and the most growth over the course of a story, have a final confrontation, and they bring all they are to bear against the other, hoping for victory. What is it called? To bring back from anime, I would bring Emiya and versus Kirei Kotomine. For context, Emiya is an assassin, and Kirei is a fallen priest, and they've both been going through all their different. Kirei is specifically a fallen priest and demon/witch hunter, and they've been going through all their different circumstances and questioning their beliefs to the point where Emiya actually no longer believes that he can just do whatever he wants for what he believes is a righteous world, because he realized that ultimately that's selfish, whereas Kirei has completely thrown aside what little morality he had, and is just firmly along the lines of, you know what? I like hurting people, and I've tried to tell myself that hurting people is wrong, but it's the only thing that gives me joy, so I'm gonna do it. And that's Kirei. Another example is Batman versus the Red Hood, because Batman, has got his I don't like to kill, or rather, I will not kill rule, his one rule. And the Red Hood, who was Jason Todd, former Robin, who got killed by the Joker, has had enough of that, and is pressing him on the matter very badly, to the point where Batman shoves his head through a bathroom. And another really good example is in video games, in Fallout New Vegas, because you have 4 options, technically factions, even though one of them is just you going independent, but they all have their very clear, distinct ideologies, and you have to choose one and kill the others. And it results in this big confrontation, not just with guns, but also with all the other people who are affected by it, or by your decisions, which ideology is right. It's gorgeous, especially in New Vegas and in video games like it. Dr. Avalone, you've done it again. But yeah, the final showdown, when it's done right, will have so much pathos and so much build-up to it that when it finally happens, you're just like, oh my gosh, he finally did it! He finally won! And when it ends, it's like, well, here's, I don't know, it's so satisfying, it's cathartic, as some people like to say, even though I don't know if they're using the word right. Anyway, this is one of my favorite ending lines, when Kirei is ranting about what he wants, and Emiya finally has enough, and has been studying this man because he knows that Kirei is the most dangerous of his enemies, and Emiya finishes him off, and he just says, finally, "You are just too stupid for me to understand." Because Kirei is just a complete broken psychopath at this point. Alright. Here is another. Number 4. Opposites attract. Oh yes. Believe it or not, I am a romantic. Mm-hmm. I love Rocky. I love Ever After. I love Baron and Luthien, and Ideal Husband, even. I love all sorts of love stories, especially the ones that are not Twilight or Romeo and Juliet, or whatever what is it, Gray? Dorian Gray? No. The weird, random, angry playboy who's into being an asshole and apparently Women like that. Some demographic of women really like that and made it popular. That's the name of the story. Gray. It's something. See, this is what I mean. It's obsessing me now. This is why I like the script. Ah. Now, well. Anyway, the best romances for me are romances where a man and a woman are of separate temperament, and then they're driven together by odd circumstances, but united by common cause and hopes and dreams and all that lovey-dovey nonsense. A really, really good example from of this archetype. These archetypes? This type of relationship would be Evie and Rick O'Connell from the Mummy movies. They're a beautiful couple. Oh my. Yeah, shut up. But yes, I suppose they have that going for them as well. Fine. But it's nice seeing that, because Evie's all bookish and very savvy, very talkative, sassy, very talkative. O'Connell's also sassy, but he's more world-weary. He's more world-wise, There we go. And he's got his street smarts and everything rather than the bookishness, though he's not stupid either stupid in the bookish stuff either. He learns quickly when Evie explains it for him. And so they all have their dichotomy, their interactions with each other, and it eventually ends with them in love, and they make a beautiful family that only lasts 2 movies. There's no third movie. We don't talk about a third movie. The point being that seeing these type of folks, these opposites, attract and then navigate all each other's differences and then support each other and then eventually become something better than either one of them would be alone. That's what romance is, right? That's what people love about love, right? Well, that's why I love these opposite attract romances. Think of this line from Rocky. I got gaps, she's got gaps. That's a pretty romantic and simple line for me, and I love it. Here we are finally. My favorite trope, even though it's not always done right, is love conquers all. The gasp! I know, it's very sappy, but I don't just mean romantic love. Obviously, that's the most famous aspect, or the most famous incarnation of love conquers all. But think of love for one's family, like Luke for Anakin. Think of love for one's home, like the hobbits of the Shire. Love for one's ideals, like Batman against, well, the world. And of course, think of true romantic love, like Rick and Evie, or Rocky and Adrian! I'm sorry, that's mean, and also bad. I have to be quiet. I don't want to scare anybody with the recording. But yeah, think about that. All of those different types of love, and in all of those stories, there's stories like them, where the stakes escalate and times get tougher and tougher, and the hero's love for whatever it is, one of the things that I listed, just makes them stronger than anything that they can fight, or rather, strong enough to withstand whatever they fight. The hero doesn't always need to destroy evil or make the world good again. They only need to keep themselves and what they can defend, what they need to defend and protect, good and pure, and keep... What was I saying? They protect what they love. There you go. And that love makes them strong enough to protect what they love. There we go. There's my eloquence. I love it. And again, it doesn't even have... The strength doesn't have to be life or world-altering. But it does have to be enough to protect and show how precious love and the things we love are. And there's nothing more inspiring than to see all of that come to life, whether it's on screen or page, and especially in real life. To prove my point, here's a final quote from a certain good book. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man might lay down his life for his friends. Yeah? And you see how I was able to connect everything at the end too? Wasn't that good? Yeah? Anyway, those are my my top 5 tropes and plot points. I hope you liked them and my explanations for them. And I hope you liked this new format of just talking bullet points. Mostly. Mostly bullet points. There will be little blurbs too that I might have. Anyway, I'll use this for shorter topics alongside the heavier stuff, and hopefully it will help me make more regular content that way. Oh, goodness, my throat. I've been talking too fast. It's another thing about script and rehearsal. Lets you stretch it out, and then you can be like, oh, yeah, totally, this was all natural. My voice is always that way. Well, regardless, thank you so much for listening to this retrospective rant, and have a good one. Thank you.